welcome back to English for You video series. And as I promised to you in the last video, while we were discussing the beautiful story from CBSE Class 10 English syllabus, that was The 100 Dresses written by Eleanor Estes, that we would talk in detail about the writer, the themes running through the story, and the major characters. So let us start the video on the same note. And as you already know, the title of the story was The 100 Dresses. And as it is very clear from the title, you find the 100 dresses were somewhere in the middle of the story. They were the bone of contention, you can say. And the writer was Eleanor Estes. And if I'm not mistaken, she was born in 1906 and died in 1988. And as you will find written everywhere, she is one of the most important writers for children in America. Her contributions are immense to children's literature. And not only that, she also held a very responsible post in the New Haven's Public Library in the state of Connecticut. Connecticut is the same state which we discussed yesterday, that is in the southern part of the US, very important one. It has got some beautiful coastal cities and some small rural setups. In one of those, the story takes place. So we are talking about Connecticut and all this. And she was a very good children's writer. And she, in 1928, she joined the New Haven's Public Library, the children's department. Okay, but by the year 1928, she had become the head of that library, and that was not a mean achievement. And if we talk more about her personal things, personal information, in 1932, she married Rice Estes, perhaps, yes. And if we discuss the merits of her writing, the important characteristics of her writing, she dealt with things which we face in everyday life. But what was strong and important was her characterization was brilliant. Her characters are very deep, and they have been delineated or portrayed or described or painted in such a way that the reader who reads the story finds himself or herself quite close to them. And this is really a very good thing. So that is Eleanor Estes, the great writer of whose story The 100 Dresses we are discussing right now. So let us now proceed and talk about some major themes which are running through the story. The very first theme that we find is bullying. Bullying is not new. You might also be aware of it. You might have also faced it in a school, where some strong kids or big kids or bad kids try to bully the weak ones, the small ones, or the different ones. So here in the story, we find that our lead character, Wanda Petronsky, is discriminated against, is bullied just because she is from a different racial background, different ethnic background, different ethnicity. And her name is different. She is shy, and she comes in a ill-fitted dress, and the same dress every day. For all these features, all these things, she is targeted and she is bullied. And the impact of bullying is a thing to be considered here, because the impact is so bad that her father is compelled to take a decision that he should remove his children from that school, from that area, and should move to some bigger city where he hopes his children would not be targeted just because they are from a different ethnic background. So this theme of bullying you find present in the story in a very strong way. The second major theme that I find present there is reconciliation. Reconciliation. This is another major theme, and we find it everywhere. There are two characters apart from the heroine of the story, Wanda Petronsky, and they are Peggy, the leader of the class, the most beautiful girl coming from a very rich family, having so many dresses, and her friend, her inseparable friend Maddie. Peggy is wicked. She has got a cruel heart. She does cruel things to Wanda. Though Maddie does stand by her in all her acts, but she is not directly involved in all that. She doesn't take initiative or doesn't say anything negative or anything that can impact Wanda Petronsky. She feels bad. She wants to make up for it. She wants to go back to Wanda Petronsky and say sorry in person. Though for some reasons it doesn't become possible, and Maddie has to write a letter and send it to the address where Petronskys live now. But she feels remorseful and she wants to reconcile with Wanda. And unless and until she is forgiven by Wanda and she feels that Wanda has really forgiven her, and there are very strong reasons to feel that, because in the letter which she receives from Wanda Petronsky, she has requested the teacher to gift the two most beautiful dresses to Peggy and Maddie. It means she has forgiven them. So this theme of reconciliation we find running through the story. Another theme is equality. This term too we are aware of. We say every man is equal. And this is a kind of universal value. And the irony of the situation is, you remember the story on Wednesday, the third day, when Peggy and Maddie get late and they enter the class late just because they had been waiting outside the school premises for Wanda Petronsky so that they can have fun with her. They can laugh at her, jibe at her with their girlfriends. The moment they enter the class, they find that the Gettysburg speech is being read and almost they are going to finish it. Now, what is this Gettysburg speech? This Gettysburg speech is very famous in America. It was delivered in 1863. Remember the year. It is 1863 that it was delivered in. And the man who delivered it was none other than the great Abraham Lincoln. And why it becomes more important is it touches upon the theme of equality, and that all men are equal, that we find the same ideal we find resonating in the Constitution of America. And what is ironical? The ironical thing is that though the girls read the same speech loudly in the class every morning, the message doesn't reach them. Had it reached them, they would not be doing the things they had been doing to Wanda Petronsky, bullying her, ragging her, taunting her, jibing at her. And this was really very bad. They shouldn't have done that. So it means the idea of equality, or the ideal of equality, that the class teacher tried to drive to their minds, it didn't work. And they didn't believe in it. They didn't get the message, and that's why they behave in a very bad to Wanda Petronsky. So this is the idea of equality, the theme of equality that has been discussed over there, but in a very ironical way. There are some other minor themes also, like social isolation is there. Social isolation is there. In the very beginning, we find in the story that Wanda's seat is vacant. And where does she sit? She sits in the last row on the second last bench with those noisy boys. And since she has not been coming to school, they find the seat vacant, though nobody notices her absence because of certain things, like she is poor, she is shy, introvert, all those things. So nobody minds her absence. But yes, the social isolation has been indicated in the very beginning. And almost throughout the major portion of the story, Wanda keeps facing that social isolation because the girls find her different. She has got a long name that was part of the Polish culture, and which the American girls who are used to hearing small names, Anglophone names, they find it bizarre and they make fun of her because of that. So social isolation is there. Even at the end of the story, we find Maddie with teary eyes remembering Wanda Petronsky, that how alone and helpless she used to stand against that ivy-colored wall and facing those bullies, those bad girls who used to make her feel miserable. So we find this theme of social isolation present almost throughout the story. Some other themes are there. Maybe they're like poverty is one thing, which has been very beautifully projected. That a poor person, he or she has no standing in the society. He is not given any importance. His words, they don't have any weight. He is laughed at, jeered at. So poverty is definitely a sin, as some of the great men have said, and we must make every effort to get rid of this. So poverty is another major theme that has been discussed here. Remorse, we can say, is another theme. Because when Peggy does bad things to Wanda Petronsky, laughs at her, ridicules her, jibes at her, Maddie feels bad. Her heart is filled with remorse. And that's why she is compelled to take all those steps. She also writes a note, though she doesn't muster the courage to give it to Peggy, because she feels she could be the next target, because she also came from the same poor community. She also used to wear those hand-me-down dresses. Okay, that's why she doesn't have the courage to give that note to Wanda Petronsky. To Peggy, and she tears it and throws it away. But ultimately, just because of that feeling of remorse, she goes to Boggins Heights to say sorry to Wanda, and then writes a letter just apologizing and requesting her to join the class again and promising that these things would not be repeated to her. So a theme of remorse is also there. So we discussed several themes like bullying is there, reconciliation is there, equality is there, social isolation is there, poverty is there, and remorse is there. So many themes are involved in this story, and just we have to understand them. Themes are really very, very important, because if we understand the themes, we can easily write the answers to most of the questions asked. And in the CBSE, now the pattern is going to be like, they are going to ask opinion-based questions. And most of the opinion-based questions, especially from a major story, they somewhere relate to any of the themes that is there in the story. So we should understand the themes, and we should try to write questions, the answers of the questions based upon them. Now in the third part, let us discuss the major characters. Our heroine, the lead character, is definitely Wanda Petronsky, and she is a remarkable girl. Though she is unremarkable because she is not marked, her absence is not marked because she is shy, introvert, poor, doesn't have any standing. She comes from different ethnic group, but she has got so many strengths. She is really remarkable. Though she is poor, she has just one dress to wear while coming to school every day. It is not well pressed even, faded blue in color, very old, and ill-fitting too, but she has the confidence to stand against the bullying that the girls do to her. She doesn't give in. She keeps defending herself in a very good way, telling them every day that yes, she has got those 100 dresses all lined up. Yes, she has got them all made of silk. That she has got those 60 pairs of shoes, those 70 hats. She doesn't accept defeat, and this is not a mean achievement. She doesn't have any standing in the class. She is very poor and badly targeted, but she keeps defending herself against all those girls alone. And that's really great, and that makes her character great. She also has got a pure and beautiful heart. Her large-heartedness is apparent in the later part of the story when she, on receiving a letter from Maddie, forgives all the girls, and she requests in one of the letters to Miss Mason, the class teacher, to gift the dresses to the girls in the class, and the two most beautiful, most exquisite dress designs have been gifted to Peggy and Maddie, and this is really wonderful. and she really forgave them, and really she admired them also, because in those exquisite dress designs gifted to Peggy and Maddie, when they look at it intently, they find that the girls which are shown to be wearing those dresses are none other than but their own portraits. In Peggy's gift, the girl wearing that dress is no one else but Peggy's portrait. Likewise, in Maddie's gift, the dress the girl is shown to be wearing, and when she looks at it carefully, she finds that it was her own portrait. And that's really a great thing. She has forgiven them and she admires them also, despite all that they did to her. And very few people are like that. That's why this character is great. And in very few cases, very few places, very few stories, you find such strong characters. And if we talk about the second one, which is Peggy is the second important character, but she's also a very talented girl, beautiful, coming from an influential family. But her ego and her mean heart, that really stands her out. And it means her merits are few and demerits are more. She does wicked things to Wanda Petronsky that she should not have done. If we talk about Maddie, she is pure. She has got a pure and clean heart. She is a very good girl. Though she does stand by or stand with Peggy when she is doing that bullying and ragging act to Wanda Petronsky. But she is not involved in that act directly. And she feels bad. Her heart is filled with remorse. And she does everything to compensate, and she just goes to the Boggins Heights. She writes a letter, and even in the middle of the story we find that she also wrote a note to give it to Peggy to stop doing all that to Wanda, but she couldn't muster the courage because she was poor. She was scared of being targeted if Peggy got angry with her on receiving the note. That's why she doesn't have the courage, and she tears the note and throws it away. But ultimately, she overcomes that fear. She convinces Peggy, when after the result of the drawing competition, to go to Boggins Heights to say sorry and do things. Okay, and ultimately she is successful in reconciling with Wanda Petronsky, and she feels in a very strong way that she has forgiven them, and that's why she has gifted all those dress designs to them. So these are the three major characters of the story. I hope you have understood the story, and I'm planning to do the story in Hindi also for those students who find it easier to understand things in Hindi. So keep waiting for the next video where I would be doing the same story in Hindi also. And please do subscribe the channel, because you can easily get all the videos on your smartphones or laptops or whatever. And if you like my explanation, the way I explain things in the videos, please do like them also. And I wish you all the best. Please stay safe, take all the precautions against the coronavirus, and do wear mask while going out, and please maintain distance from people if you go out in the market or some other places. So do stay safe. Thank you very much. See you very soon.